Hey there, it's Paul here from YouTube channel Older is Optional, where we don't want to get older, we want to get stronger. Join us today as we're up in the Northern Territory at King Ash Bay on the mighty McArthur River, chasing Barramundi, Fingermark and other such fish. Today's our second last day and we've got a hightailer up there, catch some fish and get back. Make sure you watch to the end because I want to show you how we were catching barramundi from the houseboat at night.
Yep, I got it. There's a barra. There's Barra. Didn't jump. But he's not going to wear out as quick because he hasn't jumped. That first couple of jumps does take a bit out of them.
You net him this side?
Yep.
Got him.
There we go. There we go. Look at that. Within 3 minutes of being here. Fourth cast. We got a nice little barra at sunrise. It's about probably almost 60, probably about 58. I'll put him on. Oh no, he's a bit bigger. He's 63. I didn't pick that one. And he did not jump. Did you notice that? He did not jump. So you can see the sun coming up in the background. It's about the fourth cast of the morning on the rocks here. And this little fella's nailed my soft plastic. He's a nice little barra, about 63. Just a good eating size, one for the bucket.
As I will continually remind you, I am certainly no guru. I'm just a guide. I just take you along on my journey in this learning to fish that's only been going for 4 years. But one of the things that we really learnt here was that the plastics were working well up until sunrise. Once the sun rose, it would appear that the fish, the barramundi, were able to determine that it was not a real bait, that it was a plastic. And as soon as the sun arose, they came off the bite on the plastics. But up until then, they were well and truly on the bite on the plastics until the sun rose. Again, no expert. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there with a much more experienced and better fishermen than I, and I'm okay with that. But what we did find, if you're interested, we used 1/4 inch jig head with 7/0 hook and these cast 8 jerky plastics, and they worked great. Really, the biggest thing we learnt was they worked great up until the sunrise. After the sunrise, they didn't work so well. I'd really love to know, what have you found works really well with barramundi in terms of your plastics, timing, and types of plastics, hook size? Let us know in the comments. I'm very curious and on this learning curve, and I would really appreciate your input on my learning curve. As the sun rises over the beautiful McArthur River, as per my theory, as I've been talking about, the barra coming off the bite, and we stopped getting hits on the plastics. So we decided to change the lures, and I kid you not, within 20 metres in the same area we were casting, this happened.
Did you get him on, Paul? Oh, nice little Barra Classic there.
I should show them that. The Barra Classic, we've been using it all week actually. This is brand new yesterday and it's got smashed yesterday. I'd love to know. I have to do a count back and list the fish that this little lure's caught. I will actually, because I've got them. There we are, nice barra. Beautiful saltwater barra. Let's have a look and see what size he is. What do you reckon, Paul?
I reckon it's 55 or 56. I'm hoping for it.
What's legal again, please?
55.
Ah.
Yep. He's legal. If you don't call him, let him go. He's right on 55.
So keep him?
Yeah, nice box.
We developed our trolling lines quite quickly, and as you can see, man, we got very close to the shore, and there were some big dirty rocks in there, so we had to be extra specially careful not to ding the prop. That would be no good out there. Fortunately, we were able to do that, but the closer we got seemed to be the more success that we were able to have.
stay a little wider. Oh, it's a glorious day, a much better day than yesterday. This was their reef day today. Are off, and usually they'll jump straight away. It's the first thing they'll do. That's a bit bigger than I thought. He might be legal. Yep, so we'll need a net because I think you might make. You lifted your rod, you got to pull it along the bottom rather than the top. It's probably a bit angry. They're all about the same size. You're not going to make it. Yeah. Release 51.5 centimetres, round up to 52. But he's going to go back. But that was fun. Beautiful fish. Seem to all be at that one spot, hitting them all up on that corner.
Yep. Yeah.
Turning out. Better fish. Good bite ahead. Okay, out of here. He's going to be a keeper. Oh yeah, she's a nicer fish. Oh yes, nice.
Paul, my friend who took me up fishing for this great weekend, has been coming to King Ash Bay for every year for 22 years, and certainly he would say he's no expert, but he certainly knows enough about how to catch barramundi. And if you listen to him speak, he's quite adamant about not letting the fish jump. Paul believes when the fish jumps, it has a fair chance to throw the hook. So he's all about, as you listen and watch what he does, he's all about guiding the fish. So the fish has constant pressures, and you just guide him where you want him to go.
Here, give me that. So we've come down a little bit further than we were catching the little fellas, and we've hooked into this nice fella here. He's probably in the late 60s. Great fight when they get to this size, much better than those little fellas, so you really got to work them. So we did a good job. Paul looked after the driving, and we got him in the bait.
I got to tell you, the scenery along here was absolutely spectacular. Those rock formations were beautiful. But we're on a timeline because we've got to have the houseboat back, and we're racing the tides to get the houseboat back. So we are every day. This will be the last pass. This is the last pass. We must have done that 20 times. But eventually we're going to have to head off shortly, Paul.
Oh, he's off. He threw it.
Trolling so close to the shoreline meant that constantly we were hitting the bottom, and sometimes that was just a little bit confusing between the fish and between the rocks on the bottom.
That's a barra. Okay. You steer me out a little bit when you get in? Fine. That's where the little guys have been, on that corner. The bigger ones were here at the end.
Well, I got another barra. That's 8 this morning. We've got 3 for me, 5 for Paul. We're not sure this one of his size, but that's okay. We're trying to milk out as long as we can before we got to leave to get back. 53, Paul. He's 53 centimetres. So he's not big enough, but that's okay. We got our esky full. We'll start to head back. But yes, very pleased with that fish. We've got a beautiful barra. 52 centimetres, so he's gone back. And we've got another pass, and then we've got to head back. But we've been having a great time working out which direction to go with the tide we've found. And against the current, we've found that the lures are swimming a lot better, and we can get them a little bit deeper into the water column, and we're having a great time on these fish. Put him back, and we'll get on to the next one. And one last pass before we come home, and we finish with a barra. So this is the fruits of our labour. which does remind me of my favourite Bible verse you'll see on the screen now, fruits of your labour. Now, there's 5 barramundi there from this morning trolling. If you ask me what the biggest thing I've learned this week about barramundi fishing is trolling your lure in the right depth in the water column, is to be able to pick your depth in your lure and then to keep it by moving it up and down within the water column to be about half a metre off the bottom. As you go past these areas, the barramundi who seem to be a lazy fish dart in at the lure who's coming past in the deeper water. So we've left our run to the last minute to get as many runs as we could across for the barramundi. But we have to hightail it to catch the houseboat that's heading back along the McArthur River. And the McArthur River is heavily influenced by the tide and is quite treacherous and has some low spots where we've got to get to before the tide goes too low. So it's a run to get back in time to catch the houseboat before we hit the sand. Well, we made it back to the houseboat, fortunately, which was great, and the houseboat's on a good schedule to make it back through the rocks before the tide gets too low. Damien's going to meet us and drive through there. So we stay on the boat tonight, and then tomorrow we head off on a long trip.
Here we are back on the houseboat, and out in the water I've noticed a number of barramundi come and swim around the lights inside the houseboat here. So I found a little bit of old mono line, and in this little tackle box here we'll get one of these hooks on, these little 4-0 hooks, and tie it on the line. And we'll also find a little prawn here, and we're going to thread this prawn and flick it out from the houseboat on the hand line and see if we can knock up the little barra. So out here is where they are. I don't know whether we'll have one come up and visit us in a minute. You can see one swimming out a little bit wider, but you won't pick it up on the camera. I'll wait and see if some of them will swim up, and we'll take a quick bit of video of them before we try and catch one. We're here fishing off the houseboat. Just flicked out for a barra on a hand line, a little prawn, and we got a barra in the water there. When I lifted it, mate, just pull off. But I've got no net, so I've been tiring him out till he's really tired. And here we are. We're going to have a lift. What do you reckon? There it goes. Barra on handline, boys. On a floating prawn out from the boat ramp.
Well done, Paul.
Hey Joe, what's your favourite Bible verse?
Favourite Bible verse. He said, this is God said, if my people pray to me and worship me, I will basically look after you all your life. And that's what I believe.
Tell me, has that been your testament to your life?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I live by.
This brings us to our goodbyes from King Ash Bay. But before I went, I thought I'd just do a quick tour around so you can have a look. This is at the boat ramp coming in. It's been heavily influenced, if you've been there before, heavily influenced and changed by the cyclones they've had this year. But this is where you will launch and retrieve your boat. You may have seen it in some videos with Mikey Cunningham. This is where they load up all the crabs with the crabbers. It's quite beautiful there. You've got to be a little bit careful, obviously, with the crocs. Plenty of car parking. You may have seen this car park before. It has not been changed. We have the service station or the shop that sells fuel. The fuel's not too bad. If you are going to King Ash Bay, you've got to be very careful. They close down in certain parts of the year and only open for certain hours per day. If those of you are interested in looking into a houseboat on the mighty McArthur River or at King Ash Bay, here's the Borroloola Houseboats and Cabins contact details on the screen. They were wonderful, great help. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Older is Optional.